Maurice Green is going now. Well, lightning strike in the same place twice, surely not. Maurice trying for an historic double here. Nobody's done the 100, 200 at any World Championships. When Carl Lewis was at the peak of his form in 83 and 87, he didn't do the 200 because he was saving himself for the Olympic year. It's a very big program they take on, and Green will go from lane number 4 here. No question, this is the strongest of the 2 semi-finals. 3 men here could get medals. They could sweep in the final. This man is certainly amongst those chances. Claudinei Da Silva, the Brazilian champion, Pan American champion this year, was 3rd behind Bolden in the 200 in Athens. So he goes in 5, Green's in 4, and Obadele Thompson, who we'll get back to, is in lane number 3. Now lane 6, Julian Golding, he's a real chance to make the final, and probably an outside chance of a medal. British champion, Commonwealth champion from last year, and has been in sparkling form this year.
Well, the Brits are talking up his chances. We'll get a good indication here with Thompson, Green and Da Silva, who I agree with you are the 3 that look like they're in the medals at the moment, along with Frankie Fredericks, but we'll get an indication of this man here. He looked impressive running 20:32 in the quarterfinal.
5.82 is Stephane Halt, national German champion, 20.59 in his quarterfinal. He's only 20 years of age, same age as Matt Shervington, so he's somebody to watch out for in the future, but it would be surprising if he could make it through at this stage of his career. But a good strong run. Now this is the Asian record holder, 20.16, Koji Ito, who had a big disappointment in the 100. He's run 10 seconds flat for 100 metres, and at 29 years of age, I doubt whether he's going to make it through to the final stages. So the big guns are in 3, 4, 5 and 6. They're Thompson, Green, Da Silva and Golding. There's Ito being introduced to the crowd here tonight in Seville. So that's what faces them. That's the overhead shot that is so effective here. Green with a good draw, I think. He's got Da Silva and Golding in his sights, and Thompson behind him, and he's a better starter than Thompson anyway. Thompson was in the final of the 100. He ran 4th behind Maurice Green, ran 10 seconds flat.
We'll get a good indication here of the difference between those that have run the 100 and those that have saved themselves for the 200. Thompson and Green, of course, in the final of the 100 metres, and Da Silva and Golding on Green's outside, resting up and just watching the 100s and concentrating on the 200 metres here. Particularly interested in Da Silva.
Green didn't run the American 100 championships. He ran the 200 and won it. It was going to be a showdown with Michael Johnson. Didn't turn out to be. He has one in Monaco and Malmo this year at 200, so he certainly has been in good form and has run inside 20 seconds. Thompson, you can see in 3. Big chance here. The big 3 in 3, 4, 5 and 6. First of the semi-finals. And coming out was Golding, I think, in lane number 6. So quite a few nerves here. Frankie Fredericks is in the next heat, along with Francis Obigualo. Now, was it Golding in 6? Yes, he came out first, the British champion. The Brits have got another runner in the next of the semi-finals, Marlon Devonish, who I think has a real chance of making the final.
I think Golding's the better of the 2, though. He looked very impressive in winning the British 3A title. Such a smooth runner, but that was when he was out by himself. It's a different story when you're surrounded by world-class athletes, and particularly when you have them behind you and they steam through on the bend. Obadele Thompson, of course, was in that great final in Atlanta, so he knows what it's like to be at this sort of level.
Da Silva, the Brazilian. We've had a lot of top 200-metre runners. Another version of the Da Silvas was so good in Los Angeles back in '84 when Carl Lewis was at his absolute top. Maurice Green coming up. We had such an insight with Atto Bolden with us in commentary yesterday about Maurice Green and how he values the 200.
The thing that I found most interesting about that was he commented when Maurice comes off the bend, he has to put his head down and run again. A completely different strategy to anything I've ever heard before in the 200 metres. So let's see if he does it here. Maurice Green, he'll keep his head down for 20 or so paces from the gun. We know all about that, but let's watch to see if he can remember. He didn't quite do it in the quarter-final. I think Atto was a bit upset with him. Let's see if he can do it here.
Sure he's reminded him. First of the semi-finals for the men, and the favourite in 4, but surrounded by talent. Maurice Green in lane 4. Clean start. He got out pretty well. Green moving up on Da Silva. Thompson not badly away. Golding away well. Ito probably got the best of the starts. Green's on a very good bend. Thompson's not far behind him or Da Silva. Will the big four sort themselves out? Green in front. Da Silva's having a crack at him. Green's holding Da Silva. Thompson struggling. Golding coming through. Green eases up to win. Thompson just made it. Da Silva got second and Golding got third. He's looking in awesome shape.
Well, just as Bruni Surin tried to match it in the semi-final with Maurice Green, so did Da Silva, and he came off second best. He challenged in the straight, but Maurice Green had an extra gear. He didn't need to go to it, and he is the favourite for the final.
Thompson the disappointment in 3. I think Holtz might have done his hamstring in lane number 7. But Da Silva had a crack at him at about between 80 and 50, didn't he?
Well, he ran a good bend, Da Silva, so did Golding and Obadele Thompson. Green just in front here, and it was here that Da Silva, when he got in the straight, he's a big man, and he opened up the stride. He came at Green there, moved close to the line, he challenged, and Green just drew away ever so slightly. It was here that he had him under control. He pulled up, he looked to the left, he gave that cheeky little grin that we've seen so many times.
Hasn't looked down, David, has he? I mean, but he's in good form. And Da Silva here, who's run a personal best time of 20.13, just starting to strain a bit now. And Green, well, he rubs it in a bit right there and makes a point, I think. Well, I've got you covered. You won't beat me in the final. Golding's got through, and Thompson's out of form. He must have run pretty wide, Thompson. Look at him close to the outside lane there.
Well, that's what happens when you get tired. You lose form. You can see in the background Holtz has broken down. But Green, gee, for a man who's run 9.80 in the 100 metres a couple of nights ago, he still stays so relaxed. The form is good. John Smith's a good coach.
Oh, no doubt about that. The man behind Mary Jo Perec and this man, Anato Bolden, and now Inga Miller, and he may have the sweep here in the 200 because Inga Miller, because of what's happened, is the favourite. But great shot of Green there. Da Silva trying to get up alongside of him. Golding was back a bit, and here's Thompson, who was fourth in the final of the 100, and I think going into this World Championships looked a realistic chance of maybe winning the 200.
Just not moving along the ground. The technique's still there. Arms are open. He's relatively relaxed, but he's just not getting the emphasis off the ground that he would normally do, and he will not be in the medals, I wouldn't think, come final time.
They've got a day's break. This hasn't happened before. Normally the 200s either run on the same day. We've often had semi-finals and the final on the same day. It was in Atlanta and also in Barcelona, and could be in Sydney, or it's the next day. But here there's a complete day off, and then they come back, so they can really go for it, obviously, here and then again in the final. So we're seeing good fast times, and I think Green's capable of certainly breaking 20 seconds and maybe even challenging his own personal best time of 19.86. There's the result. Green 20.10, Da Silva 20.13, so he's getting into the real elite class. Golding at 20.28, his best time is 20.18. Obadele Thompson has run much faster than that, 20.03, he's at 20.36. Christopher Williams has had a good series, he finished in 5th place, but out of the final.